Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome at this HCH Dubai Expo pre-event. My name is Freek van Eyck, Director of Holland Circular Hotspot, and I'm very happy to be with you in this session. As Holland Circular Hotspot, we want to make circular economy happen at the international level and create opportunities for entrepreneurs like you in our virtual room here. Together with the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management and the Dubai Expo team, we're organizing a circular economy mission to the Expo. A mission and event. And what we want to do is to update you today. And it's our ambition to make you enthusiastic that you do not want to miss this event in Dubai. Maybe a few words on circular economy. I think COVID-19 has given a huge boot to circular economy. Business as usual is not an option. Green recovery is high on the agenda and circular economy will get a boost. As for me, I think that circular economy can be a bigger business opportunity for the Netherlands than, for instance, water management. When are we going to Dubai Expo? We have chosen to set up a program in the second half of January 2022, January 16 to January 22. Why is that? Because it's still relatively far away, so we will have a better COVID-19 vaccination situation. At the same time, it coincides with the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, and that's a magnet. The whole world comes there. There will be high-level representatives. It will be a very interesting target group for you. Today, we will update you. We'll tell you a little bit more what's going to happen, what's our program, who you will meet, and we also think that you will get a fantastic event. If you look at the pavilions, the country pavilions at the Dubai Expo, they're absolutely fabulous, impressive. And you will be able to present yourself not only to the Gulf region, but to the world. It's the place to get some traction, to get visibility. And I think the experience of visiting the Expo will be something which you will remember for life. Now, what will be our circular economy topics that we will share with you? The topics are building an infrastructure, plastics, and waste management in general. And let me say just a few words on them in general. And of course, later we'll go much deeper on them. Well, building an infrastructure. If we can't make building an infrastructure more circular, we cannot save the planet, seriously. It has such a major impact on the world. So we need new circular business concepts, new materials, modularity, reuse, etc. The second topic is plastics. And plastics has so much momentum in the world at this moment. Everybody is aware that we have to do something, that business as usual is not an option. Regulation is setting in at high pace in all countries. So that means there is a fertile soil for new innovations, design options, new materials, new business models, and of course, new methodologies for collection, sorting, recycling, and upgrading. Now, last but not least is waste management. Of course, it's the very last step in the circular economy, but it's often also the first step of action in many countries because even decent landfill management is not in place. And if you look at the region, I think lots of things will happen. More recycling activities, more opportunities for energy from waste. And countries like Saudi Arabia, for instance, have European ambitions and have the money to invest in a transition. So opportunities for technology suppliers and consultants. With regard to the program, you will hear a lot more from very inspiring and very eloquent speakers. We expect to go on a mission with a minister. Don't ask me yet who that minister will be. I'm as curious as you to know, but count on it that it will be good, it will be interesting. A mini expo, a conference in the Dutch pavilion will be on the agenda on the 17th to 18th of January. Excursion and matchmaking will be on the agenda around the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. And I expect also lots of synergy with international programs, with the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform, which is already committed to deliver a few key speakers to an event, and maybe also with the high-level trilateral event involving the Netherlands, the Emirates, and Jordania. In short, lots of excitement to be expected in January. Today you hear more. We have Ronald Wormgoor, Mark van der Linden, Mehdi Diori, Bob Oosterbok, Herman Huisman, and that means we have very interesting speakers who will tell you more. I hope you and I will be meeting each other in Dubai, and in line with the Expo promotion, I would say, discover the world and a circular future in one place. Join us. Over to the moderator, Ruben Dubelaar. Ruben, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Freek, for the introduction. My name is Ruben Dubelaar, and as always in webinars, we do have some guidelines. So first of all, the session will be recorded, so that you're aware of that. So if you don't want to be on camera, put your camera off. Please stay on mute if you're not a part of the discussion, and well, of course, use the chat for any questions that you might have for the Q&A in the end. And of course, enjoy the session. So maybe let's briefly take a look at the program. Freek also already mentioned it. And as you can see, we have a very diverse group of speakers who can update you on the pavilion, but also on opportunities the Expo and Gulf region have for business. So please use this session to ask your questions via the chat, or well, afterwards you can always email us or get in touch with me or one of my colleagues. So Holland Circular Hotspot is commissioned by the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management to organize the Circular Economy program for the Dubai Expo. So it's good to know from the perspective of the ministry why circular economy is an important part of the Dutch program. So I know he was a bit delayed, but I hope he's with us in the session. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Ronald Wormgoor, who's the Deputy Director International Affairs at the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management. Ronald, are you in the session with us? And if Ronald is not here, then I would like to switch over and go to Mark van der Linde. And Mark, I know you're with us. Mark is, well, on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and RVO, managing the let's say the business to business program for the Dubai Expo. So Mark, are you with us? And I know you have a great presentation prepared to take us a bit along the programming.
Yes, thanks Ruben. I'm in a call. I'll try to share my screen. Do I have permission for that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a disabled. It's can you enable it for me? I get the message that the host has disabled share screen. There you know. Yeah.
There you go. Take it away, Mark.
Yeah, just a few clicks. Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to give you a brief update and an overview of what we're doing at the Expo Dubai. As you all know, it was planned for last year, but due to COVID, it has been extended like so many other big events. How do I get the next? Sorry, just, yeah. Yeah, so the Expo, we think it will be the first large event, public event, a global scale that will take place, well, not to say after the pandemic, but during the pandemic and for a lot of countries at a manageable level of the pandemic. So it will be taking place in Dubai for 6 months from October this year until end of March 2022. We expect this expo to have about 190 countries representing with a pavilion. That's the largest number ever during a World Expo. And in Dubai, the expo site is a very large site of 4.5 square kilometers. Well, this is a overview of how the expo quarter will look like, and they have 3 districts that are the main pillars of the theme of the expo: connecting minds, creating the future. So there's the mobility district, the opportunity district, and the sustainability district. And the orange arrow, there you see where the Dutch pavilion is. So we are situated in the sustainability district. And all the districts, they are connected in the center by a big dome. It's the biggest dome in the world. And that can also host a lot of activities. So you see that a lot of pavilions are situated in the districts, and the Expo organization also has in each district a big venue where also activities will take place. Yeah, so here's already a sneak preview of the auditorium. So why are we doing the expo? Of course, this is a way to position the Netherlands as a sustainable partner to the Gulf region, but also to the whole world. Here we can support our Dutch private sector knowledge institutes in making their case to show what we're about, especially in the challenge of sustainability. That is a challenge not only felt in the Gulf, but that's a global challenge. Our message is uniting water, energy, food. It's a theme that's not a coincidence. It's already the major theme of our efforts of partnership in the Gulf already. And we see the Expo as a nice stepping stone to enhance that message and to continue beyond the Expo. And also on energy, water and food, the Netherlands has a strong position, a lot of innovation, a lot of good partnerships. And yes, we're now in a session on circular economy. It's not mentioned in that theme, but that's the linking message of sustainability, that we are focusing on that circular approach of how to get to sustainability. I'm gonna try a film now.
Yeah, no sound, Mark, but maybe it's good to mention that I think the construction is already almost finished, right?
You were saying, Ruben?
Yeah, sorry. No, I thought maybe it's good to mention that how far they are. You know, maybe as a voiceover on the video. I think construction's already almost finished, right? Of the pavilion.
Yeah, I'll. The film is still running, and I get a lot of interference. One moment, and.
Yeah, no worries.
No. Yeah, sorry, Ruben. You were mentioning because I had the sound of the film in my one ear and you talking in the other one, so it was hard to get your question.
Yeah.
Could you repeat it?
I'm not sure if everyone was hearing the sound. That's why I started maybe as a voiceover to ask you a few questions on it. But please go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can share the information, the slides in any case, and we have a YouTube channel where you can find all these clips as well. Here you see a crosscut of the pavilion, and that's really something that embodies our uniting water, energy, food message, and also the circular approach we apply. Of course, the district before we started building was a desert area, and what we want to achieve is when the expo is finished, that it will turn into a desert again. So we won't leave a vacant building like in other expos. I think it was an example in Germany, where it was a vacant building with a lot of graffiti. The pavilion is set up with locally available building material that we rent, we apply, that can, after the building is going to be ready, can go back into other purposes. And beyond that, as explained in the film, it's a biotope. So it creates water out of desert air. And that's an installation with the technology of afhankelijk. So solar energy from the rooftop is being used to run this installation that can up to 800 liters a day generate water. And that water is then being used for watering the plants. So the cone structure is where the water comes down. And on the inside of the cone, there is mushrooms that will be grown. On the outside, edible plants. So that's how that whole system functions as a biotope. And that's a real nice achievement. And maybe short, in the front area, you see an auditorium where we can host events. And then on the back side, there's a business lounge with 2 decks. And on the top, there's a boardroom setting, also for smaller sized events. Here you see one option of the business lounge. It's a setup that can be changed into a banquet setting, into other settings. So there's a lot of possibilities to tailor make this room for your use. Here you see some pictures of where things are standing currently. Construction has been has stopped for a few months due to COVID. In March, it restarted. We're on schedule. One positive thing of our circular approach is that we did not have any hiccup in the building process because we were not dependent on sea travel for all the construction materials because it was all locally sourced. And here you see on the left-hand corner the auditorium in the top, and you see the cone that is being prepared for the planting materials. Yeah, this is the front area. So what are the things that we really want to show? Of course, innovation is key in all the things that we want to put on stage. And I think that's something that we can do very well. We have different weeks that the Expo has set up with a particular focus. Mostly those weeks are connected to trade fairs and exhibitions that take place either in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. Which is a regional and often global center for these trade fairs. We have end of October until the 6th of November, we have the Urban Week that looks at urban and rural development. And our core team Water will come up with a program that looks at urban resilience. So we have a program on November 1st, and we're working also with an additional program on October 31st. And this also coincides with our National Day on November 3rd, where we have kind of the official opening of the pavilion. So we will organize a high-level trade mission. We cannot say who or what on the high levels. We don't know what minister will be in place. We have a caretaker government at this point, but hopefully that will be more clear in the period after summer. Then we have in January the Global Goals Week that coincides with the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, and also it coincides with the Water, Energy, Food Nexus Summit. That's a summit with 3 countries: the UAE, Jordan, and the Netherlands. And well, there we have a very big program on sustainability, and a large trade mission will be organized. We aim at having the Prime Minister attending the summit, and we see all the tracks on renewable energy, on water, and of course on circular economy having a program in this week. We also have a offshore energy week, a renewable energy week. That's in November. So that focuses on offshore wind, the energy transition, and the role that hydrogen plays in that field. And we have a agriculture and food week in February, where the whole agriculture sector will connect to the Go Food trade fair and a program that will have support of the Ministry of Agriculture from the Netherlands, also with a high-level delegation. Well, there's some more information on the different weeks. I will not go through it step by step. You can read through it in the notes when we share the presentation. Yeah, I think what is good to know is next to the business programming, of course, exhibitions, World Expos also have a cultural component that are connected to the message that we have, connecting uniting water, energy, food. So there are different continuous installations in the pavilion, and also there will be temporal installations in the pavilion. Really interesting to see how that connects art with the content. We have a dedicated website, Dutch Dubai, DutchDubai.com. There you can find all the information on programming, on who to reach out, how to reach out. We have a newsletter. Earlier this month, we started a program information pack, which you can download on the website, and that has a program from beginning to start on all the weeks, all the activities. It's a living program, so still things are being added and being defined. That will be updated on a monthly basis. So please look out at the website and get your information. And of course, don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have ideas on joining the expo.
Thank you very much, Mark. And I'm sure everyone who sees it and hasn't seen it so far will be very inspired. Please stick around. Thanks for well, showing us this, well, the latest development. I think it starts to look great, and I really can imagine that if we start how it starts to look, that we organize a very nice program. It's already a circular expo in itself, so let's see if we can even make it more circular. And then I guess also for well, companies that join in, of course, you're always well, curious to see what kind of business opportunities there are in the region. Some of you are already doing business. For some others, you might consider going to the Gulf region for the first time. So I think it's a great opportunity that we have Mehdi Diori here with us, a senior economic and commercial advisor at the Consulate General in Dubai. And he's an expert in circular economy. So we're very glad that you joined us, and Mehdi has prepared a small presentation to give you a bit of insights on what happens in the UAE on circular economy. Mehdi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ruben. Well, I consider myself less expert in front of the different panel here, the speakers, and of course the audience. You guys, I'm sure, have been in the ground for quite some years and have been implementing a lot of initiatives. So yeah, my name is Mehdi Diori. I'm a senior economic advisor here at the consulate in Dubai. I've been in the region for around 7 to 8 years, a bit in Doha as well, working mostly in sustainability, waste management, with consultancies with one of the Northern Emirates here in the UAE as well. And I'm the focal point when it comes to circular economy from the consulate side. So I'll be with you guys developing content, helping you with the events, welcoming you here, of course, and of course answering any questions pre-expo, during expo, and also hopefully post-expo. So my presentation here is mostly verbal. I'm going to take you through a sort of a top-down approach, briefing you about circular economy, mostly starting from the strategies and plans that have been implemented or are being implemented right now, and delving a bit deeper into the trends. I'm sure also the esteemed speakers here will talk more in details when it comes to some specific topics like waste management by Herman and construction as well. So when it comes to the strategies and plans in the UAE, similarly to the transition agendas that are present in the Netherlands, there are two specific plans that it's good to know in the UAE, and both are overseen by the Ministry of Climate Change. The first one was a sustainable consumption and production plan, which was done in 2017, and a sort of a more updated version here, what they called circular economy policy. and the Circular Economy Council, which were both sort of developed and put into place earlier this year. So the Sustainable Consumption and Production Plan came as a response to the high level of consumption, of course, that you all know, and the waste per capita in the UAE. According to the ecological footprint calculation, if all countries consume like the UAE, it will be around 4 to 5 planets required to support the population. The Consumption and Production Plan outlines 4 sectors, the same they state as well in the Circular Economy Policy. These sectors are sustainable public procurement, green infrastructure and development, sustainable manufacturing, and sustainable food production and consumption. I'm sure you'll see a lot of different or similar sectors to what you see in the transition agendas, and maybe also to other circular economy plans around the world. These priority sectors were based on the relevant sectors for GDP growth and their impacts on natural resources. So the highest production sectors in the UAE are manufacturing, construction, and no surprise, oil and gas, whereas the highest consumption sectors are housing, food, and transportation. There's a whole statistics report that I can also share to anyone who's interested. There is also a coalition circle, which was formed in 2019. This is a bit more recent. There are also some actually Dutch companies present there, international ones like Unilever. It comprises the government, the NGOs, and this coalition circle was primarily done to reduce the plastic waste. So they signed a pledge with the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment to develop a circular economy model to combat plastic and packaging waste pollution and improving the collection in the United Arab Emirates. The pandemic has accelerated the need a lot for circular economy plans. And it has come to no surprise that even His Highness Sir Mohammed bin Rashid started this circular economy policy. It's the Executive Council as well of Dubai also that is overseeing it. So they put in place a circular economy policy in the council, which is also formed by the public and the private sector. A lot of ministries, municipalities, and also some companies. So the purpose is to propose the foundations for general and sectoral plans and projects to apply the principles of circular economy. What that means is boosting the participation as well of the private sector and encouraging the public-private partnerships, which is quite important for us to start when we talk and when you, of course, do the conversations with the local sectors here or the local companies. Now, this is a sort of a general overview of the plans and strategies. Most of the work that has been done top-down is mostly this, which sort of shows the maturity or lack thereof, of course, of the country, but at the same time, it's a bunch of opportunities and potential to growth in circular economy. Now, apart from that, of course, there has been a lot of initiatives that could be part and considered part of the circular economy. So I'll just mention a bit of the trends and the certain initiatives related to circular economy. The government is drawn more specifically to fourth industrial technologies, of course, like Internet of Things and AI, which comes in tandem with the establishment of the first graduate university in AI here in Abu Dhabi, which is in the middle or in the heart of Masdar City. And I'm sure you heard about Masdar City as an eco-city built from scratch in Abu Dhabi. Based also on the CE, Circular Economy Council meetings, trends will probably revolve around R&D, technologies ranging from digital data sets linked to physical products like product passports and Internet of Materials, as well as blockchain-based schemes. The energy sector, for example, the UAE is banking on technologies like carbon capture, utilization, and storage to reduce the carbon footprint. They estimate the goal is to have 5 million CO2 tons a year of carbon capture by 2030. So there has been a lot of civil initiatives. One of them as well, as you all know, is a product as a service. There has been some interest in this regard in the UAE with the pay-as-you-go cars, for example, sharing services like e-car, U-Drive. You'll be able to see them once you come here. There's a lot of waste management initiatives, but I'll leave to Mr. Herman, of course, to elaborate on that. In the public and the private sector, well, in the private sector specifically, the Emirates Global Aluminum is recycling SPL, hazardous waste generated every year. It's one of the best initiatives even amongst the aluminum industry, aluminum companies around the world. Gulf Cement in Ras Al Khaimah is using camel manure to generate fossil fuels and making cement and saving 18,000 tons of carbon emissions. Etwix is a fashion line that aims at upcycling 500 tons of PVC material that is used and destroyed by the advertising industry in Dubai every year. So there has been a lot of initiatives like these, but of course they need to be scaled up and they need to be even more increased to the likes of the like-minded countries in circular economy around the world. Even supermarkets like Carrefour, which is part of Measure Del Full-Time, the group also that is part of circular economy. Supermarkets like Choy Therms and Waitrose, they've even been limiting, if not charging for plastic bags at certain periods. Of course, separate queues for customers who reuse their bags, etc. So this is just a bit of trends here and there from bottom up and top bottom. In the construction specifically, and I'll just mention briefly, as you can guess, the construction sector has not been doing well around the world and has suffered quite a bit in the UAE. It's particularly important for Dubai as it is one of the drivers of the local economy here. Closely linked as well, the real estate prices went really down. The rent prices in some areas went down by 20–25%. Spoiler alert, the result of the pandemic and economic shift has pushed the government to seriously invest in circular economy, but also led the construction market to shift to more of a reevaluation of the city and retrofit solutions. So we see a lot of building retrofit, and at least as a trend, at least as an interest from the construction sector. So to make the contrast here, or more of a constructive contrast, unlike the UAE, the boom in new construction and the cities is now in more of the neighbor KSA. But not to waste a good crisis, but also more to improve. This means that we're seeing a maturity of the cities and turning away from let it build and will accommodate sort of mentality to a more, let's see what we can do in terms of compactness, in terms of city building, in terms of energy efficiency and reusing the materials. So there's still urban sprawl effect, of course, due to the past baby boomers trends in the region, but we're seeing more of a shift to these trends that I mentioned. So there will be appetite towards energy efficiency, smart construction. In fact, the construction sector is the least digitized industry. Reusing, recycling in construction, continued demand for energy managers and efficiency in HVAC systems, which is a bit of a mature here when relatively speaking to the other countries in the region when it comes to the ESCO companies, energy service provider companies, etc. There will be also, of course, trends in efficient types of paints, facades, etc. Perhaps the next big thing can be building as a material or building materials as a service. So us as a consulate and embassy, we've also been doing some outreach because aside or in addition to circular economy, we're also trying to see what we can build in terms of green building. And we see similar trend. This is what we receive from the big construction companies here, the big engineering design companies like Arcadis, Arup, even the small one, the real estate agents, similar trends and similar push. The challenge, though, is in harmonizing all of this, is to implement the modern ways of construction in the region, is the need for collaboration, a more trilateral collaboration between the designers, who of course like to push the next best thing, but also the clients, because the clients also far, the off-takers have been mostly sort of copying and pasting the same business plan, building, expanding. So the clients need to be willing also to try something new. The contractors have been impacted, and so they're looking more for economic, sort of efficient construction ways, something that would make sense economically. So it's a bit of sort of a harmony between all these three players. When it comes to plastic, and this is my last bit, is a typical UAE resident uses 450 plastic water bottles. It's around a whopping 11 billion plastic bags used annually here. The GCC countries are amongst the highest, of course, waste generators per capita. And to better understand the gaps, the Gulf Petrochemicals and Chemicals Association, which is a good sort of key player here to know if you're in the plastics industry, commissioned a study in this regard. And I think by now it must be online already. So the GCC countries recycle only around 10% of plastic waste. And this is in comparison to the US and the EU, which have a plastic recycling rate, of course, more than 30%. So the local recycling units need to have modern machinery, know-how, and sound system to increase this level of productions. The initial steps are a bit slow and hesitant, but we're moving in the right direction. With the landfill levies in the horizon and substantial investments in recycling and processing plants. So UAE is planning to address its plastic waste issue. The investments mostly has been so far in the low-hanging fruit, when it comes to recycling of PET due to its sort of relatively easy way compared to the recyclables or the other recyclables. We already see some collection schemes for PET bottles in place, backed by both existing PET recycling infrastructure and future capacity being built. There is a new capacity being built in Abu Dhabi in addition to the already plastics recycling that is in Al Ain, which is still in Abu Dhabi Emirate, the biggest emirate. Just between parentheses, I'm sure you know, but it's a federal system here. So each emirate will have its own sort of initiatives. Abu Dhabi and Dubai, of course, are in the lead. The Northern Emirates are usually fall under the ministry and the federal level initiatives due to, of course, their size. So we now need to augment this progress in plastic recycling with further investments in plastic streams, for example, LDPE or soft plastics that are slightly more complex to process, but which otherwise couldn't cause severe damage. So as I mentioned, the state-of-the-art recycling facility is being built in Abu Dhabi in addition to an already existing one. It's planned to have advanced sorting and washing lines to process food-grade plastic. The recycling plastic will then be used for food and beverage packaging in that particular facility. BIA has announced joint forces with PepsiCo to collect the equivalent of all the 100% plastic packaging produced by Aquafina. It's very highly present here, so it's quite an ambitious goal here. They also have a lot of partnerships, and they're going to have one of the best MRF facilities in the region in Sharjah. And I think basically one of their strengths is because they are present in other Emirates as well, and they have a very robust collection systems compared to the other players. There are initiatives, of course, here and there, like some companies producing high quality sustainable clothing from PET bottles. Al Ain Agtia Group is also partnering up with Veolia. So we see a lot of partnerships and initiatives here, mostly to develop the sector in terms of collection and in terms of plastic recycling. This is mostly it from my side. I'm of course happy to receive any questions or even later on connections and reviews. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehdi. So thanks a lot for this quick update and on the local market and sneak preview on what happens and some of the trends that you see. So maybe a bit of consolidation of the market, especially in construction, but also some room for innovations and new business models. I think that's key on circular economy, about keeping materials longer in the loop and use and reuse existing infrastructure and work on efficiency. So thanks, Mehdi, and please stick around for the Q&A and discussion. For now, let's move over to Bob Oosterbos of LeadX. And LeadX is actually a company that helped to build the expo in a very circular way. So actually, LeadX is already in the pavilion. So Bob, we're very glad that you joined us today. And can you tell us a bit about yourself and about what LeadX is doing?
Of course. First of all, thanks a lot for this invitation to tell about LeadX and why we are commenting in the Dubai Expo. I'm Bob Oosterbos. I'm responsible for global business development and corporate communications of LeadX. As LeadX, we produce and manufacture circular waterproofing materials for construction. We use PVB waste as raw material, which are big piles of waste around the globe. And they were formerly incinerated or burned. And we developed this material, this waste material, to reuse it for construction. And 4 years ago, we started and came to market with a first product that was flashing. It's kind of a LED replacement for construction. And this year, we will come to market with the most sustainable flat roofing material in the world from that same pile of waste. And what's important to mention is that all our products are designed to dismantle again. So at the end of the life cycle, you can reuse it again. So completely circular.
That sounds great. And I think that taps right into what Mehdi was just mentioning. You're the sponsor as well of the Dubai Expo. Can you explain a bit why the Dubai Expo is such an important event for LeadX?
Well, if you look at the Expo as a thing in general, I think it's the most important event in the world to showcase innovations. I believe it exists already 150 years. The Eiffel Tower is a nice example, or the Atomium in Brussels. So to be part of it with LEDx, it really gives us credibility for our brand around the world. Our materials are being used in the pavilion itself, so it's a nice showcase. But the most important reason why we are sponsor of the Dubai Expo and why we are sponsor of the Dutch Pavilion is that we can invite our global network to the pavilion and to organize key stakeholder events. It's such a nice venue at the city as Dubai. It's really a global hub. So we're going to use that stage to launch our new material, the world's most sustainable flat roofing material. So I can't think of a better place to be for that kind of
great platform to launch such a new innovation.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you see that you tap into a demand of the local market? Maybe it was already given a bit of an, he mentioned that you see a shift in the construction sector. It's becoming a bit more conservative about reuse. And do you see a shift like that and raise on demand on circular products?
If you look at the Gulf region and the Middle East in general, we do see a shift. Our parent firm is already doing business in the Middle East for about 30 years, also with waterproofing materials for construction, but then not out of waste. And we see that our partners over there are asking more and more, what is LEDx doing? What's in it for us? And so we see more demands. However, we are taking it easy, and we can't do the entire world at once. Yeah. So that's also why we are choosing the Dubai Expo to start the Middle East with all our products. Yeah. And what's also important is that what's already mentioned is that the governments, especially in the Emirates, are really busy with sustainability. So I think that governments and private entities really need to help each other to start making a change. And we see that especially in the Emirates, if you compare it with other countries in the Middle East.
And then again, on the expo, you see all the current innovations. So that's the place to be.
Yeah.
And Bob, maybe to finish, maybe you can share for our viewers as well. What do you see as main projects coming up in the upcoming period? Are the new construction projects?
What's already also mentioned is that there's a shift of new buildings in countries outside Emirates. For instance, in Saudi Arabia, there are major projects are going on. Nevertheless, also in Turkey, by the way, the government over there is still investing a lot in major projects. But for us, we also see a large opportunity, especially in the Emirates, for renovation and retrofitting buildings. As they're in their mindset, they want to create the city of the future. I think in Dubai, also when you look at initiatives like Sustainable City in Dubai. So if you look at the buildings, they're all were built 10, 20, 30 years ago. So they need to be redecorated and renovated. So I think that's still a big opportunity.
Yeah, I think so too. So thanks a lot, Bob, for joining us on this session. And please stick around. And we wish you, of course, all the good luck. And we already discussed that you're going to be there in January as well. So we'll be seeing each other over there for the program.
For sure.
And let's stay in touch. Thanks for joining, Bob.
Okay.
Then I would like to move over to our next guest, and he's an enormous amount of knowledge in international waste management and projects, and used to work at the public work authorities. So we're glad. He's also a special envoy, by the way, of Holland Circular Hotspot, Herman Huisman. Thanks for joining us and welcome. You have a lot of experience in the Gulf region, Herman, and maybe to kick off, can you tell us a bit of what kind of programs you've done over the past year?
Yes, it's a few years ago now, but we had government projects for Sharjah, Dubai, and also for the Abu Dhabi. We invited officials from these countries, separate missions we had, and we showed them a lot of the waste management facilities in the Netherlands, from collection, recycling, transportation, of course, landfilling and remediation of landfills, but also waste to energy. We set up a cooperation, especially with Sharjah, so the third Emirates of the United Emirates. We started a project on assisting them in trying to reduce the amount of waste going to landfills, because actually most of it's still going, but there were high targets, very ambitious targets, not just from Abu Dhabi, but also from Dubai and Sharjah, and they were more or less competing about the targets, one even higher than the others, with diverting waste to percentages of 75, 80, 85%. So they asked us to come up with solutions to divert waste, so to increase recycling and look for opportunities, but they didn't want to spend too much money. So waste to energy was not an option at that time. So we came up with the RDF solution for the cement kilns in Sharjah. But in the end, when we had provide a complete plan with 75% diversion, they said, well, very sorry, and we were very glad with your report, but we chose something else. So that was a bit of a setback. But actually, the situation in all the Emirates, it was also one of the questions. They are not altogether. It's about 10 million people, with three main states, Emirates. So Abu Dhabi with close to 3 million, Dubai to 4 million, and Sharjah with 2.5 million. So it makes sense to cooperate on waste management at this level of the UAE, but actually they did not. And as I understood from Mehdi, they just started to have some cooperation with some different waste streams. But until now, there were even bans for exporting waste from one emirate to the other. Yeah. So what they all did was just collecting the waste and mostly landfilling it. And recycling rates for household waste are about 6%. So it's quite low. They had some.
Do you see some tendencies of scaling up?
Well,
do you see that then there are new opportunities that arise also for Dutch entrepreneurs or companies that can offer services to the region?
Yeah, as I said, recycling rates are still quite low. For C&D waste, it's better. So they're already using the rubble from building and constructions for road construction. So it's a what we should call a downcycling a bit, but use it as a road base. So there are options to, for instance, introduce also recovery of cement in this area. And for collection and recycling of household waste, it's a difficult situation. In Sharjah, they have set up a two-tier system, and it's recycled in a plant, but with a very low recycling rates. Most of it is being landfilled. But in order to reach this diversion rates, which they agreed upon, it's about 75% diversion, they moved to waste to energy. And again, there are three different plans, one for Dubai, one for Abu Dhabi, and one for Sharjah. And Sharjah wants to build a gasifier and produce what they call green hydrogen. Abu Dhabi is more in more what we know mass burning. So it's developing now. So when they incinerate the waste instead of landfill it, they can reach high recycling or diversion rates, actually, not recycling rates. It's developing. Plastics already been mentioned by Mehdi. Construction demolition waste, there are options, but I think there's still an option for looking at other waste streams which can be recycled or recovered, because at the moment most is just landfilled and in the future will be incinerated.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Herman. And please stick around. I see some Koos is formulating a question for you in the Q&A, so we'll get back to you later on. So please stick around.
I will.
Maybe for our audience, we will just quickly, briefly go through a few slides to give you a bit of idea of what we're about to do. And Herman, please stick around for discussion. I'll get back to you in a few minutes. So Freek already mentioned, of course, that these are going to be the three topics on circular economy. Next slide, please. And then it would be good to mention that this is going to be overall the program. It's going to be during the Dubai Global Goals Week. So we hope to arrive there on the 16th of January. Fingers crossed, that travel, etc., always free by then and that we can travel, but that's where we aim for. We hope, of course, to have, a high-level delegation leader from the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, maybe State Secretary or a minister. Was already mentioned that there's going to be several high-level delegates from the Netherlands during that week. And then we aim to have a program on the Monday and the Tuesday in Dubai around the Expo, with a Circular Economy Pop Up Expo, bilateral meetings on other country pavilions, and circular economy meetings on EU level. So then we want to take the opportunity to move to Abu Dhabi on the 17th and 18th to visit some of the national pavilions at the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. And through those days, we'll organize visits, and Mehdi already offered his help to visit some of the local players. That could be the ministries, that could be the Tatweers, most interesting parties that we identify together, but that of course also depends a bit on who participates. So I think it's going to be a very dense week with a lot of opportunity. And next slide, please. I think one of the, most of the nice things also for the exposure of your company is that we'll do a circular economy pop-up expo. And like Bob explained and Mark explained, the whole pavilion is already a circular economy exposition on itself. But there we will take the auditorium or one of the other rooms to, showcase some of the innovations and some of the solutions that the companies that join do have. So it will, if you have something that you can carry with you in the airplane, certainly take it with you and put it on a pedestal, but you can also show a movie, or we do a TEDx Expo kind of thing. So it will be half a day with all kinds of solutions in circular economy from the Netherlands. So if you want to showcase anything and have a great market entry over there, I think this will be the opportunity. And of course, we have the public relations and the private relations to invite to join us this day. So I think that is a great opportunity for companies if you join the, let's say the trade mission in January. And we expect, and that's all still a bit, we have to wait what happens with travel restrictions, etc., but to open this up after summer. So keep an eye on invitations to sign up for the Circular Economy program from 16th to 20th of January. Maybe Freek, moving over to you, did I forget anything? You have anything to add on EU level or meetings that we can expect?
Well, we've been in contact with the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform, where we as Holland Circular Hotspot are a proud member of the coordination group, and with the DG Environment, let's say the Ministry of Environment of Europe. And they said they very much welcome an initiative to bring European players together there will not be a formal European circular economy mission going to the Emirates, but they will support us with speakers, etc., if we organize an event. And we already know that other countries like Slovenia and Finland and France are very likely to join up if we set up an event. And as, let's say, resource flow do not limit a country, in the circular economy, we need to work together. And the fact that we already can get a continent like Europe, let's say, who's very outspoken on circular economy together and, let's say, highlighting the importance of a circular economy transition at a platform like Dubai Expo is very important. So it's not, let's say, confirmed yet, but you can count on it that there will be a European event offering more opportunities for collaboration for the participants.
Yeah, so besides one-on-one matchmaking, it's also an opportunity to have some high-level roundtables specifically on circular economy topics, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It could be an event, a conference, or a roundtable. We have lots of opportunities.
Thanks. I see that there's a question for Herman. Maybe Herman, you're already typing, but the question is from Koos. Herman, can you tell how much concrete there is annually?
I just wrote it down in the chat.
Oh, sorry.
In 2020, 2 million tons of C&D waste has been recycled in Abu Dhabi by Todd Weir. It's about 80% of all their C&D waste being recycled, and it's all used as road base. In other countries, or other of the Emirates, Sharjah, I've seen the same developments, quite large facility for C&D waste. So that's something which is running. But as already mentioned, in the Netherlands, we tried to look for more advanced uses of C&D waste, the cement, but also use a lot of the rubble in new constructions, the concrete constructions, but that's not really happening. So they still, it's the brick, although there's not too much brick, but and the concrete are mixed, collected, and treated. So that's road base is one of the best options for it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Holland is also the recycling of concrete not optimum. You make from large concrete debris, small concrete debris as a road filling material. But we have a technology that can liberate the aggregates out of old concrete and liberate the cement base too. Yeah. And that's a beautiful material as feed filler for a cement kiln because it's CO2 free. And that's making the situation more complete.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. Yeah, that would be a
but the 2 million tons is 2 million tons isn't it's not big business here in Holland. We use 15 million tons for a small country as Holland. So maybe there is a lot to win in the Emirates. Maybe they don't look for it because it's.
I think it's a great idea to have the smart crusher as part of the pavilion, Nico. So thanks a lot for that. And Herman, maybe for you as a final recommendation, if for our viewers, you have one final recommendation why you think the circular economy is a big topic in the region and Dubai Expo. What would it be there, Herman, for you? And then maybe I'll ask the same question to you.
Yeah. Well, actually, the targets and their ambitions are high, but they lack the expertise and the practices which are in the Western world. So I think there are quite a lot of options we could show them on, like this smart crusher, and where they can really meet with higher recycling rates instead of just waste to energy. But also, I think, he's Rogier from Phoenix is already here as well. There are quite some options in the future because waste to energy will be one of the biggest developments in the near future. So there's also room for looking at the slags and the ashes from these facilities.
Okay, thank you very much, Herman, for taking the time for being with us and sharing your experiences on that. Thank you for joining us and as a speaker. Let's move over to Mehdi. Maybe for you, in a few sentences, if you would wrap up and have a recommendation for Dutch companies that want to join. Why do they need to be part of the Dubai Expo Pavilion, the Netherlands Pavilion? Mehdi.
Thank you, Ruben. Well, I visited the sneak peek of the Sustainability Pavilion because it's got opened for 3 months this year. And it was actually quite interesting because it was different from the usual buzzwords and the usual experience. People who have made the pavilions, the Expo 2020 organization pavilions, are quite experienced in terms of getting the message across. And the message across was consumption, consumption, consumption. It was done by beautiful different ways, ironic ways, sarcastic ways, but like thought provocative. And I think this is really cool first to see, but this is just between parentheses. Of course, there's a lot of business opportunities. I think there are, of course, challenges. I think what usually would make sense, and maybe what I would leave my presentation with, is what economically makes sense when it comes to the construction and the plastics. And I think that's what is gonna hold here, and also finding the right agents. So we're here also to facilitate that, and happy to support.
Thanks a lot, Mehdi, for joining us and sharing all your knowledge on that, and looking forward to collaborate on the preparations for the program. Thanks a lot, Mehdi. We're running a bit out of time, so also would like to thank Mark van der Linden for joining us, and of course Bob Oosterbos. Thank you very much for joining and give us a bit of insight of your experience and what you see as opportunities. And maybe Freek, moving over to you for some final comments and to close off.
Thank you, Ruben. No, very happy to see the interest and that you stayed here till the end. We really think that Dubai Expo will be the first opportunity to meet for a larger audience, and we really hope to be there with you. We have a very good feeling that we'll actually be there. It's very likely, and that's also something which the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management passed on to us. This will probably one of the first events where we can physically gather together. And it's very likely that a new minister will join a mission there. So I hope to be there with you. Please let us know if you have any specific questions or desires for the mission, who you want to meet, what you want to learn, then we can cater the program to your wishes. So I hope to see you there in person and in Dubai. So thanks to everybody also from my part.
Okay, with that, we would like to close off the session. Thank you all for joining. I believe maybe we put on the video again that Mark showed, maybe with some sound. So if you're interested to see that again, please stick around. And if not, thanks for joining and looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Exist without each other. The world's population keeps on growing, and we are dealing with global challenges like water scarcity, food security, and a rising demand for energy. So becoming more self-sustaining is getting more and more important. Expo 2020 offers an exciting opportunity to drive positive change. And this is where the Netherlands is keen to contribute. By uniting water, energy and food, something magical can happen. We've designed a pavilion which is more a biotope than a building, a miniature world where the climate is controlled naturally, where water, energy and food are intrinsically linked, full of intense sensory experiences. A pavilion that stands for openness, inventiveness and inclusion, and for minimizing our footprint. The entire installation will be built from local resources and with locally rented construction materials. After Expo 2020, all materials are given back or will go to a new destination. We invite you to experience these new possibilities. So open your eyes, smell, breathe, wander, and let your senses experience a unique sensation. Let's connect minds to create a better, more sustainable future together. Welcome to the Dutch Pavilion. Find us in the Sustainability District. Dutch Dubai, Dutch connection in the Gulf, uniting water, energy and food.